Minutes late. sauce.
My baby just tried to eat my charger. Just found a cord and went for it. It's plugged in.
Oh, for a second I thought you bought a new Dodge. Which, I don't know why I would think that your baby would eat a car, but here we are.
Dude, I don't have new car money yet. No, it was just my computer charger / iPad charger, but it was just a loose cord. I didn't even notice it until it was almost too late. Sneaky boy.
Alright, less than 3 minutes to go until Tuesday's best podcast. Tonight, we're going to take one giant leap into pop culture as we look at all the craziness that's happening across games and shows and movies. All this on tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. Ooh, holy shit, I stuck the landing for once on this show, and it was like a nice, just floating like a leaf on the feathering wind to land a smooth transition into our show. Oh man, now I've ruined it by explaining what the hell just happened, but here we are on tonight's Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast. This is our June 2nd, 2026 show. We're glad you guys are here. Welcome. If this is your first time, every YouTuber says it. Just give us 5 minutes, and if you're happy, like and subscribe. If you're not, scroll on by.
Like and subscribe.
Oh yes, like and subscribe, and then keep scrolling.
If you're here, homie, hook up.
Right, exactly. So yes. We've got so much to discuss. Tonight it's just going to be you and me, John. H. Marie and Corione are both surprisingly a bit under the weather, so we wish them a speedy recovery into next week's podcast. We'll see you guys here next week tonight. Or something, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All the best.
Yes.
I have no healing powers, so I'm not going to pretend like my wishes are all that best.
I mean, it's in all ness of the fair, you are indeed still recovering. So I guess it just makes sense that you got to keep focused on you as well.
Yeah, I'll get there. I mean, more than anything, it was just face surgery, so it only hurt. It's not actually like taking me out.
It only hurt. Well, that's I guess an endorsement for face surgery if you need it.
Oh, dude, if you need it, it's well worth it. Don't wait till you're 55. That was the one thing I kept hearing from people was like they waited until they were really old to get their noses fixed and then they could finally sleep again. And I was like, I felt like I waited too long.
Well,
and I only waited like 16 years.
Yeah, probably because you did, but yes. Next week, we're going to try a new feature where we actually highlight people's comments. We've been trying this feature for years, and look, we're trying. Anyway, what do we have next? LG Channels is totally ripping off Puppy Bowl for the World Cup. This is coming to us tonight from The Hollywood Reporter. Where have we seen this before? Oh, right, on Animal Planet every Super Bowl since 2005. On June 10th, LG Channel's World Pup will put rescue puppies on the football pitch to raise adoption awareness. Okay.
Is that what they do for the Puppy Bowl? What kind of dogs are at the Puppy Bowl? I don't know. I don't watch either of them.
I watch the Puppy Bowl in between the crappy commercials when the Superb Owl isn't going the way I want it to. I switch to the Puppy Bowl. Right out of the gate, I have problems with the way this article is trying to say they're totally ripping off the Puppy Bowl for the World Cup. It seems to me like they're just doing the World Cup version of the Puppy Bowl, and that seems a little less antagonistic. But what do I know? I've just, write stuff. I don't really see what the big deal is, besides this is a cool idea. I actually do like that they do this for the Puppy Bowl. It's fun, a fun alternative, especially if you're not a fan of the halftime show. And, if you don't want music in a different language other than English, and if you especially don't want to tune into, Kid Rock's cringe performance, the Puppy Bowl is a third alternative for your halftime show needs that you can definitely consider. A lot of people, and of course there's also those people that say, I prefer the Puppy Bowl to the real Super Bowl. And I'm sure that there'll be people that I prefer the Poppy World Cup to the Rail World Cup. And that's... Thank you, H. Marie, from the recovery ward. Yeah. And I don't really see what the controversy is. But I guess Tony Maglio, yeah, Tony Maglio, decided to drum up some controversy with phrasing this in the most asinine way you can. Jeez. Moving on. PlayStation first-party game sales have declined over the past 5 years, although Ghost of Yotei helped reverse the trend. On the eve of Sony's crucial State of the Play showcase, the new data has revealed a steady decline in first-party PlayStation game sales over the past 5 years, although 2025's Ghost of Yotei helped reverse the trend. Having increased, this, by the way, from IGN. Having increased the price of PlayStation 5 and the cost of a PlayStation Plus subscription, Sony is under pressure to deliver with tonight's State of the Play, which we know will include a new look at Insomniac's Wolverine game. But fans are hoping to hear more from Sony's wide network of first-party developers at State of Play, many of which haven't released a brand new game in years. Thoughts, John?
Yeah. Wasn't there that thing that, like, a lot of people weren't allowed to talk about on YouTube that, like, I don't remember, it, like, slowed down game development and drastically reduced the amount of first-party exclusives for a few years?
It was some kind of sickness or illness of unspecified origin that I don't know if we're allowed to talk about yet.
Yeah, I think somebody was talking about it somewhere. I don't remember. I'm not allowed to know.
Yeah,
Anyway.
right. We're just doing entertainment, okay? This isn't a politics E2IP.
I feel like it's one of the things that gets glossed over. They're like, since April 2020. Weird. What a coinkydink that there was this thing that may or may not have hindered sales for a little while. And mostly in terms of, like, production.
Right.
Like, I feel like Death Stranding 2 just recently came out. That's a PlayStation exclusive, which
that one was doing pretty good.
Hit the Steam platform, so it just finally broke the exclusivity. And yeah, like, that's what I mean. I feel like there's not that many. There was like 4 Spider-Mans before 2020.
Yeah.
Like, of course, they're first-party platforms. I mean, God of War made a comeback that nobody expected. That was substantially better than a reboot or a remake. And, like, that's where the downward trend really hit. It's like, obviously, something had to have happened. And obviously, we all know what it is. So, like, if we continue to just not acknowledge it, it makes it look like this is the sales team's fault, which is what, like, justifies firing a bunch of people. Like, they use this as, like, proof that there is a negative faith in the company. But the reality is, like, no, there was a legitimate, tangible point in history that is nobody's fault, and we need to just act like it happened so we can move on.
Yeah. This article still has my interest, so I'm going to continue reading. So, what has Sony actually released over the last half-decade? Well, there have been some high-profile bombs, including the disastrous live service game Concord. But it's worth remembering that through it all, Sony has had a number of smash hits despite overall sales figure failing. Arrowhead's Helldivers 2, for example, remains the fastest-selling PlayStation Studios game of all time. Astro Bot might not have sold at the same level, but it was critically acclaimed. Insomniac has released Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales and Spider-Man 2, both of which have sold millions, and Sony's Santa Monica released God of War Ragnarok, which was a huge hit. Polyphony released Gran Turismo 7, and Guerrilla released Horizon Forbidden West. These are all major launches, but the data doesn't lie. As Totillo points out, remakes and remasters, of which Sony has released a handful in recent years, haven't closed the gap. Sony is selling fewer PlayStation Studios games on PlayStation consoles, which many have factored into the decision to pull away from PC and return to PlayStation exclusivity for its single-player narrative titles. However, Sony will be happy that total PlayStation game sales, including sales of games from third-party developers and publishers, have risen in recent years. So overall, it's a positive picture. It's just that Sony-published games could use a shot in the arm. I think and this concludes my interest in this particular article. I mean, it's interesting that literally just months ago we were talking about the end of the console wars, and now the Xbox CEO has come out and has said the Xbox exclusive titles will be returning, and PlayStation now might only be getting just the one Halo title to it. So it makes sense that PlayStation would go back to its niche of keeping its single-player exclusives. That's where it's been really strong. I mean, I think Uncharted was a huge help for the PlayStation 4 when it finally got to, the third game on its launch? Damn, where's Bronson Fiore encyclopedia for video game knowledge when you need him?
Dude, I don't know, because one of the things I read recently was that, there's a major reason why most games on PlayStation are selling so well, especially in the Asian continent, and it's because it's also the only platform that sells. I remember when I was living in Japan, the only place you could buy an Xbox was on base. Otherwise, they just didn't sell them at the mall or at any of the other stores because Xbox was not considered premium out there. Right. And I don't know if it's more just a distribution thing, Microsoft doesn't sell over there. But in that instance, one of the biggest things PlayStation has always had going for it is that they get to develop to a console, just one console, figure out all the bugs, get it all worked out and get it together. And then when they finally decide to break exclusivity 6, 7, 9 months down the run, they're giving out a gold disc to every new user, whether they're on Steam or Xbox. And that's a huge, huge platform to actually work with. And I think that one of the big things that the console wars always frustrates me with is are they going to be like Nintendo, where they never break exclusivity with most of their games?
I think that
or are they gonna the metric for the spectrum is are they gonna be Nintendo or are they gonna be Steam, where they're if somebody figures out how to get this to consoles, I guess, but that's not in our effort. And so it's they just don't put any effort into it. Nintendo's no, we'll never sell that way. Both of those are kind of negative because that is why I like the idea of PlayStation versus Xbox is both of them have had the majority of their exclusivity revoked at some point or another. And I think that's actually useful for everybody is that once you get it good on your game, then you go sell it to PlayStation and then everybody on PlayStation's all right, maybe now I do want an Xbox so I can get it for the first 6 months like everybody else. But at this point, if you're going to go back to Halo being the most exclusive title, I feel you're only doing that because you're ashamed of Halo again.
Yeah, and it's a fascinating conundrum to be in again because the thing with Nintendo is they were smart in that they stick to a lot of their stuff staying in-house, and because it's so a Nintendo game when you see it. And a crappy Nintendo port when you play it. So there's a certain wisdom in keeping the brand, I guess you could say, pure and exclusive, because it's worked in Nintendo's favor. They haven't had to change hardly anything. They haven't even had to update their graphics since the GameCube. And so
I wouldn't go so far as it keeps it I think it's more than anything, it's extremely restrictive to the player base. But that's also where Nintendo has done the one thing most haven't, which is a much more affordable platform consistently.
Games that are constantly marketed to families and kids and that are family friendly, and just constantly being a brand that people can always go back to and rely on. You're not going to go to Nintendo one day and find Master Chief. I mean, it's it's, kind of a bummer, but at the same time, it's like, well, that's what makes, Super Smash Brothers, for example, special, is it's all Nintendo characters. It's not all these other characters from different IPs that suddenly bombard and saturate and then the next thing you know, it's just a generic fighting game that you're just playing as your favorite character as, but, it's basically the same copy-paste play style across like 30 other characters.
Well, and I feel like the biggest thing when it comes to Nintendo, it's more in terms of its just general, like, it doesn't get open to anybody unless you get to Nintendo. So, like, while I get that they've mitigated it, I still feel like that is the only negative to their choice. Because when you, like, everything else, you're absolutely right on. And, like, the funny thing is, like, even with Smash Brothers, with the tons and tons of new characters that you get to pick your favorite, like, rather than it being more like Mortal Kombat, where all these new characters have new stories, but they don't have any back trail, like, you don't get to watch them win the tower and the story be different anymore. Versus, like, when you play it on Super Smash Brothers, every character can be the main character, and it's in line with the story of the game. And it's all wrapped around, its whole story is also exactly wrapped around in the same story loop and, like, combat loop, where, like, that part of Nintendo has always been the beneficial part, where they don't put out games that are, like, half designed unless it was for the DS or the Game Boy. And more than anything, it was other people trying to make their games smaller to fit. And they were like, yeah, if you can do it, you can sell it. But if it's not good, like, that's not a Nintendo branded item. But it, like, yeah, like I said, like, the only negative is the fact that it is harder to reach.
It's worked for them, and,
True.
They don't have to be constantly going back and forth. Like Sony is in a bit of a corner, because what does Sony offer, in the gaming sphere, whereas Microsoft has it on two fronts, because it's, they have both PC and Xbox. And so it's like, Nintendo's thing has always been to be that family-friendly sort of, outside the realm of the rest of the competition, because they don't really have competition. Their one competition was Sega, and, well, they just make games. They don't have a console. So it's like, really, it's really just kind of Xbox and PlayStation that are the big competitors. But this is where it's getting to that point where what's going to make Sony more unique in the long run, and what is the incentive to buy the blue console over the green or the red
I
one?
think that actually has a lot to do with the investment from the Western countries into, like, anime and a lot of the Japanese RPGs, because, like, Sony has had that market on lock also with Nintendo, and just have never had their, like, games localized to the Western countries, because they just thought there was no interest. And, like, that is actually one of the benefits of YouTube, is a lot of YouTubers are constantly like, yeah, so I had to get this all translated, but here's one of my favorite games, and it's only in Japanese, or it's only in Korean. And, like, when they get that, once, like, Sony picks up on that, it's like, you guys haven't actually 100% untapped well that will guarantee to sell, maybe not to everybody, but a lot of it is, like, you just need to get it localized. Like, just pay some people to translate the game, and you don't even necessarily have to upgrade any of the mechanics, because everybody uses it. Like, that is one of the few things that is universal. Everybody uses the same controllers. Like,
right.
Every single major platform, Sony and Xbox, have the same number of buttons, plus or minus a touchpad button and a home button that may or may not act different, And so because of that, it's like, that's a universal language for the most part. So if the game can be played on controller, literally all you have to pay for is translation. And I think if Sony decides to start doing that first, just investing in translation of a few, like, niche cult classics from Japanese RPGs, immediately they won't even have to worry about their in-house studios doing the absolute best right now, because their in-house studios are working on other things. Like, the team that's doing God of War is probably going to release another banger, especially if they let them cook. And I think that's really the big lesson here is, like, don't make anybody push anything, because if you rush anything, it's going to crash. Look at Concord. Like, Concord failed because it had zero purpose. It was meant to be 1,000 different things that were all great money gotchas. It became none of them.
Yep. We lost your audio, John. Cannot hear you now. Moving on to our next story. Marvel fans disappointed as today's big Avengers Doomsday tease appears to be a pop-up coffee shop. So, learning absolutely nothing in the crappy marketing schemes of Mando and Grogu, which is now causing it to fall on its face, looks like Marvel's going to follow in its footsteps and, not reading the room of superhero fatigue that is surrounding this film. With 2 p.m. now passed in the UK, Marvel's big Avengers Doomsday surprise appears to have been an appearance by directors Joe and Anthony Russo at today's Doctor Doom-themed pop-up coffee shop. Oh, wow! Oh, my God! So, yeah, because, showing up on cooking shows and all that did wonders for Favreau's Mando and Grogu.
Dude, I haven't read the sales. Did Mando and Grogu, flop? I thought they've already broken even.
Broke even on the production budget, and it has fallen off the wayside into this week. And this weekend it placed third. It did not.
Took third place, but in terms of earnings, how close is it to paying off? I feel like. Honestly, I just feel like this is like the summer box office. The next one always does come in as a hit. I just didn't expect the Backrooms to be the hit.
The Backrooms and Obsession, yeah, I agree. And this week we've got Spielberg's new Alien movie coming out this weekend. So that could, I do want to see Mando and Grogu one more time, maybe get Latino Slant in on a show next week. But
46 million globally so far.
So it's probably broken even at this point. It did make its production budget, which is good, but it also has to make up the marketing.
$165 before marketing.
Right.
They said about 400 to 500 to break even. What are they wasting for marketing? I feel like that's the major.
No one ever really
here.
discloses
getting paid for all this advertising. That's I did not go see this movie because of a poster. I tried not to watch the trailers. I only watched them the one time we watched them on this channel, and then I didn't rewatch them.
Yeah.
You could have saved. It looks like they spent an extra $300 million on marketing. I feel like that's your bad for wasting so much money on such a needless product. It was Star Wars. It was marketed itself, and it did. It literally, the cost to produce was 165, and it's 246 already.
Right, and we'll talk more into this once we get towards. We actually have a couple of articles getting into this, and probably give you a chance to give your thoughts on Mando and Grogu.
Well, no, I just mean more in terms of that it sounded like in the last article already it was going negative. I was like, it doesn't feel like it's that negative, but I do see why
it's not a boom either. It's not a win.
It is in terms of doing
it didn't
what?
It didn't, Indiana Jones bomb, which is good. It gives me hope for Starfighter, and I'm certainly looking forward to getting back into Star Wars now, but this movie was very okay.
Did you watch what everybody the critics said about it? The Critical Drinker and other channels? Because one of the things that I noticed is still made 246 million despite most people being oh, this was just another episode of Mandalorian.
It was, and honestly, I hope all episodes of Mandalorian going forward are in this format because I liked how it was. But we gotta save the Mando discussion for later. Coming from the Hollywood Reporter, my grandmother told me not to bring home a blue-eyed wife, but I'm a gay guy. In the remote mountain village at the center of Thanasis Neophotisis, moody debut feature, the superstitious locals have a chant, nay evil, yea good. It's a ritual meant to ward off strangers, and in The Boy with the Light Blue Eyes, the stranger in question is a boy whose usually blue eyes mark him as a threat to everything in the village holds sacred. The genre-bending Greek film, which can also be read as a queer coming-of-age story, world premieres at the Screen Festival of SXSW London 2026 on Thursday, June 4th. Starring Griorgos Kardis as Petros, a boy forced by his strict grandmother and the village mayor to hide behind a mask. The film is written by Neophotisis and Grigoris Skarakis, shot by DeJord, man, I can see why people skip this article, Arambasic, and edited by Panagoris, God.
You are really trying. Bunch of Greek people.
Anna Galapagos. You know, guys, putting the phonetic pronunciation of these names next to these in the articles does help. Gersh is handling... Yeah.
Make it like something that pops up when I hover over the name.
Yeah. Protagonist, Angel Galapagos Islands, I guess. That's what my brain wants to say for Panagotis Angelopoulos. God damn it. A cinematic allegory for exclusion, the longing to be seen as the desire for love and freedom. The Boy with the Light Blue Eyes uses a symbolic myth grounded in visual language to tell a story that is rooted in a specific place, but unmistakably universal. Neophotosynthesis spoke with THR about the personal experiences behind the film, its 12-year journey to the screen, and why the evil eye is more than just a tourist trinket. Are we still interested in this article so far? Does the chat want us to continue this article? Going once? Well, you should have been on tonight's show.
It does seem like a very good movie, but also the amount of names makes it very hard to handle this article. But at the same time, it just said visual storytelling. So, to me, it seems like wait and see better than just listen to all of the keywords of, why this is going to be good. Mostly, I also don't want to be spoiled on why the eyes are a curse.
Fair enough. John has interest in possibly seeing and reviewing the movie.
I really hope it's one of those, dark movies. Those ones are fun. I really like the horror, but it's more like a thriller. But also, it doesn't necessarily.
I don't think
have
that
to
was going to be the case with this one, but
yeah. But also, I don't want to know what the curse is.
Fair enough. PlayStation shovelware crackdown continues as major publisher warns its games will soon be pulled. It looks like Sony is continuing its mission to clear the PlayStation Store of shovelware games after publisher Webnetic announced its journey on PlayStation will soon come to an end. Sony has been working on uncluttering its digital storefront over the last few months. Most of its time has been spent targeting shovelware, a term used to refer to cheaply produced and exploitative games that have been known to flood store pages with experiences often labeled as knockoffs and low effort. Shovelware.
Dude, welcome to the scoreboard, Sony. I feel like Steam did it first.
Right.
Microsoft followed suit. And then now Sony's following suit. Which, yes, job well done. Thank you for finally noticing that, you were part of the problem by allowing those companies to make those games because they were 100% intentionally willing to ride that high as long as you let them. But welcome to the scoreboard.
Sony removed hundreds of PlayStation Store games from publisher Thigh Games in January and then turned its sights to Go Game console publisher VRC Forge Studios and Welding Byte in April. Now it looks like Webnetic is next on the chopping block.
Oh, dude, there's something I do have to say, because I just remembered this. I didn't know that Psyonix was a subsidiary of Epic Games last week. And so, as much as I'm like very proud of them for being Rocket League centric, I feel like that's something that I feel like should be shown a little bit more to show that they are related. Because I was giving them props for being an independent studio. They are not. They are 100% financially backed by one of the biggest developer like competitors in the market. Epic Games is huge. They are Unreal. Like, it's kind of cheating. They're marketing their own product through multiple of their own products. And I got. But just had to say that.
Well, it happens. Any Baldur's Gates fan? Oh.
Dude, I love Baldur's Gate.
Any Baldur's
They're
Gate?
talking about a new game?
All right. Baldur's Gate 2 remake reportedly arriving before Baldur's Gate 4. This is somebody else is going to give us commentary. No, I don't think so. I said no. Wizards of the Coast reportedly have remakes of Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 in development, while they have plans for a Baldur's Gate 4. It's likely a long ways off, and a remake of the first two games would hopefully hold over fans during the wait. Baldur's Gate 1 and 2 already received enhanced editions that were basically souped-up remasters, and it's unclear from what these remakes will take. In other news, James Gunn has shared the first official look of Nicholas Hoult. Oh, yeah, I think we actually have an article on that. But anyway. So, John, you love Baldur's Gate. What are your thoughts on that little blurb I just read?
I don't know if Baldur's Gate 2 is as good as Baldur's Gate 3. I know Baldur's Gate 3 set some massive standards in terms of like cinematic quality. So if Baldur's Gate 3 or 2 is going to be a remake, I really hope it's at that same quality. I don't know anything about the second game, but also teasing that there's a Baldur's Gate 4 on the way. Very exciting, and 100% understand why that one will take a while. Mostly because Wizards of the Coast, notorious for making a lot of mistakes along the way and letting everybody know halfway through and then reverting and changing and updating and announcing when it'll be released and then postponing the release a couple years. But regardless of that, Baldur's Gate 4 is probably going to be phenomenal, especially when you couple it with Unreal 6. Like, I really do hope that whoever is holding it down is only holding it down so the team can learn how to use the software more, because they're very good. And also, like, writing those elaborate stories, the amount of things you can do to change the game and mess it up is extremely impressive when you get into like how many other stories end with 3 options that are very much the same or very like chaotic endings, and none of them are good. See Mass Effect, and then they added a 4th ending, whereas like Baldur's Gate 3 had like 27 separate endings. Like, that's insane, which is impressive. So like, if Baldur's Gate 4 is going to take a while, I hope it's because of that stuff.
Na Hong Jin's record-selling Kane's monster movie Hope sets September theatrical release. Na Hong Jin's Hope now has a date. Neon will open the cult South Korean director's sci-fi feature, one of the buzziest titles in competition at this year's Cannes Film Festival, exclusively in U.S. theaters on September 9th. Hope premiered at Cannes in May to a 6-minute standing ovation and a wave of sharply divided critical reaction, ranging from rapture to notes of bafflement. The Hollywood Reporter's chief film critic David Rooney weighed in strongly on the positive side, describing the film as a rip-roaring sci-fi creature feature that has instant cult classic written all over it. It's a great feeling to know from a movie's first frames that you're in the hands of an assured genre auteur, wrote Rooney in his review from the festival. The rare action thriller that takes place almost entirely in broad daylight, Hope pulls you in immediately with its virtuoso camera work, pulse-pounding score, adrenalized pacing, and sharply drawn characters. I don't think I need to spoil myself any further, because I think we're set to review this. Let's take a look ahead at the calendar, actually. September 9th is a Wednesday, so we'd be able to review it for our September 15th podcast. Unless we decide to do a review special for it, if we like it well enough, we can do that too. We don't have to just do... It's the nice thing about the Entertainment Information Intelligence podcast. We can do it whenever we want. So yeah, probably keep a lookout for that. Our review of Hope coming in September, probably after the 9th when it comes out.
Sounds fine. Looks good.
It's just based off of that review. It sounds good.
Yeah. It sounds extremely exciting.
All right, sad Corione's not here to talk more about this, but Subnautica 2 dev addresses misunderstanding around decision not to let players kill predators. Subnautica 2 design lead Anthony Gallegos has opened up about the reaction to Unknown World's decision to prevent players from killing predators in the underwater survival game, expanding the developer's true intent. Not being able to kill fish in Subnautica 2 is the game's hottest topic, and while Unknown Worlds has promised to add mitigation to the game so you can better deal with predators, it will never allow you to kill them. Well, that's... Ahead of Subnautica 2's early access launch, Unknown Worlds spoke about not wanting players to conquer or dominate the underwater environment, insisting it wouldn't feature tools that would let them slay anything that gets in their way. "We aren't a killing game," level designer Artrium Artie O'Reilly said in the Subnautica Discord. "Go play Sons of the Forest or something if you want to kill." Yeah,
This is the same rule they made with Subnautica, though. Like, they're basically like, our biggest thing is we're not trying to kill anything. The whole goal is, like, part of the game is learning how to coexist. And so, like, I feel like if it's literally written into the design ethic and, like, the story, yeah, their whole thing about being a pacifist game actually is fair. Especially because this is the second one, and apparently it's substantially improved upon the first.
yeah.
And also, like, one of the biggest things is the CEO that bought them out is trying to say that he doesn't have to pay because he didn't think the game was going to hit record sales, and it did. So he's got problems. So I feel like a little bit of this is like stirring the pot to make the game look bad, but in reality, that's why I say, like, it is their whole ethic has been like making a game anybody can play and also isn't a killing game.
I mean, that's fine, and if that's going to be their market, that's their business, and that's their model to choose to do that. I guess I prefer my Subnautica simulator in No Man's Sky, because I can kill all the things that I wish to, and that's, you know, I guess all there is to that. Yeah. Zack Snyder tackling reimagining of John Carpenter's Escape from New York. Well, gee, you know, I only have one thing to say to that. First of all, why an Escape from New York remake? We really don't need to reimagine it. And if you don't believe me, we can watch Escape from New York. Maybe even do a live special viewing of it if we so feel. But on top of that, Zack Snyder. So we're gonna get like a really, really weird sci-fi slow motion epic battle, like Star Wars, but it's, the real question is Kurt Russell coming back? That's all I care about. Some folks may have heard that Snake Plissken is dead, but Zack Snyder is not one of them. The singular filmmaker behind 300 and Zack Snyder's Justice League, they don't even mention his own movie, has come aboard to write and direct the reimagining of Escape from New York, the classic dystopian action movie from John Carpenter that introduced audiences to the cool, eye-patch-wearing, cobra-tatted anti-hero, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. The feature project is being put together and will be taken out of the market in the coming weeks and marks the first concrete steps of getting an Escape from New York movie up and going in years, and the intent is to release the feature theatrically, according to sources. The picture company partners Andrew Rona and Alex Heineman. Honestly, this is just getting... Why? Have you ever seen Escape from New York, John? Oh, wow. Guess what's going to have to squeeze into our summer blockbuster classics for... Well, let's see. Next week we've got... not Arrival. Not Revelation Day. Confirmation Day? The new Spielberg movie that's coming out. I had it off the top of my head earlier. But anyway, that's the new one that's coming out this week. Or Disclosure Day. Disclosure Day is hitting on Friday. And yes, gonna review that one for sure. Might save the full review for the 9th. Yeah, the following Tuesday. Then the week after that is Masters of the Universe. So we'll have to review that either on the 16th or we do a special for that one again. Either way, we got a couple of movies this week. So we might be able to do a classic on the second half of the month. Then you can understand why I'm not too excited. I mean, I know your boy Zack Snyder is one of your favorite directors ever. No? Oh no, what happened?
Dude, I just rewatched his movies. And I really do like his effort. I still love Man of Steel and Justice League and Batman vs. Superman, especially the extended editions. He nailed those to me. Mostly in terms of, no other superhero movie has that much power scaling. Even when you look at all the Avengers movies, they do have the one dude with arrows, but, his KD is equal to everybody else's because, he's still alive.
Right.
And I feel like the problem with Zack Snyder in terms of, the more energy he gets behind him, the worse his movies get.
Yeah.
Because, watching the Netflix movies, I do like them a little bit. Very, very little bit. And it's mostly because they drag very hard, especially the extended editions, and very little is added. Just a lot is drug out. And that's the bummer. I really feel like if he's gonna do this Escape to New York movie, he is gonna add a lot of boring. And he's going to call it expositional filler or something. And I feel like it's not going to be worth it. But his graphics and his CG, top.
Yeah,
top
we got to watch Escape from New York so you can see why it's just a silly idea all around. Anyway, video games could have movie-style product placement to counter rising costs, ex-Dragon Age boss says. So, it would seem that somebody has never played Need for Speed Underground. Oh man, back when cellular wireless was your thing, man. That's just, yeah. Anyway, as big budget video game development gets more costly, including TV and movie style product placement, could... What? Learn to write, Tom Phillips. Including TV and movie-style product placement could make up the shortfall BioWare's former Dragon Age boss Mark Dara set. Holy fucking word vomit. In a lengthy video discussing the future of video game monetization, Dara noted the rise of AAA games included live service elements to ensure owners kept playing and paying long after release. Many video games rely on post-launch content or live service elements to ensure projects earn them back huge sums of money spent developing them in the first place, with big-budget games now regularly costing hundreds of millions to make. But not every game can succeed with these models, Dara said, meaning that there needed to be other ways for developers to pay the bills. My understanding is that live-action Smurfs movie paid for itself entirely through product placement, Dara said. So the movie was effectively made for $0 simply through the sale of product placement. Contrast that with the way that games make money. The existence of subscription programs such as Xbox Game Pass and PlayStation Plus was not a cure-all either, he continued, noting that a lot of games make very little money from being included and suggesting that these offerings risked encouraging degenerative design in order to try to juice the numbers, which, yeah, well, duh. Welcome to current state of gaming.
Dude, this is the guy who's coming about Dragon Age, and like, which Dragon Age is he from? Is he from the most recent one that was bad?
I'm
Like,
guessing
so
because
bad
they haven't mentioned it, that must be the case.
I'm
because
pretty sure he was the guy in charge of Veilguard. Look, go down. It says poorly received. Like, I feel like he's blaming EA and
Dragon Age: The Veilguard, yep,
Yeah,
began
no,
life
dude,
as a
really
live service
shitty
game before.
It was a terrible game, and yeah, it cost a ton of money because it didn't make any sense. Like, go look at Expedition 33. Did you see how much that one cost? Because I'm pretty sure it was like a 7 or 12-man team, and they won all of the game awards because it was a phenomenally done game because the developers were invested and they actually were a part of the payout. Like, this guy is acting like the problem is that the developers aren't worth their salt. And it's like, no, the executives aren't worth their salt because they're not investing back in the developers. They fire them after crunch. They lose their QA teams. They don't even invest in QA in a lot of cases anymore because ChatGPT will do it for you, I guess. Yeah. And then this guy's out here trying to say, like, you know what developers should do? They should get a second job. Like, man, it's people like you that make developers fear their first job. And I feel like more than anything, the developers out there, like, go to be Expedition 33. Do your own game with your friends. Treat your friends right the whole time, and you'll probably get to do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Top Hat J says, speaking of Snake, Metal Gear Solid had Mountain Dew outfits. That's an excellent, right there is...
Go for it. I don't think that's necessarily a problem.
No,
I think
that's the answer. That's the solution. Right? Like, dude, friggin' imagine running around in a green, Mountain Dew Halo Master Chief outfit. It'd be freaking silly, honestly, but
more than anything, it's like getting the color coding. So now I may not want to be Mountain Dew branded like a NASCAR, but I want to be Mountain Dew green.
Right.
And now it's there and readily available. And inspiration.
The Mountain Dew skin. Okay, I would want Mountain Dew branded on my gun. That would be ridiculous, but
right?
hilarious.
No, that's hilarious, especially for kill cams when it shows like how they died and they see you just
changes my laser guns to a soda stream.
Yeah. and I think that like that part of it is like it's more than anything give the developers freedom to embrace the absurdity and it will work out. If you don't let the developers embrace the like absurdity of, shilling for a product.
Yeah.
Like, especially if you like hamstring them, you're like, no, actually, I just want the player character to suddenly turn around and say this line. And it's like, that's going to ruin the product.
Right. And it's got potential to, it's got, like as Jay just said, make it silly and fun. We won't even care that there's ads. And that's exactly, like, you can literally have, one of the boss fights in a PvE game be a giant logo or something. Like, it's...
Dude, in Transformers, when the Xbox got turned into a robot.
but then when this Taco Bell victory brought to you by Mountain Dew Baja Blast, like there's any number of things you can do with it. You just gotta learn to have fun with it, which is exactly what I'm about to do now. I didn't actually prepare this. I'm just throwing this together on the fly, but we're gonna go ahead and take a quick 45-second to a minute ad break to talk to you about tonight's. Well, they're not our sponsor, but it'd be really cool if they were. Are you looking for a good sourdough sandwich? Do you need to step up your sourdough game? Then Carl's Jr. has the sourdough sandwich for you. Look at all that bacon, those grilled onions, that sauce, that cheese. Man, am I pissed I live on the East Coast right now because all I've got is Hardee's. You can pick up one of these superior sourdough breads for $5.99 at any of your locals, Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Carl's Jr. Fuck you. I'm eating. And that concludes our ad break.
I appreciate the way you ended that. I did not look good. Honestly, I was trying to eat my dinner and...
You're eating something else while I'm doing a food ad. That's awesome.
When I got it, I got, uncomfortable. Dude, that looks disgusting.
Really? You thought the food looked gross? Ugh. I mean, minus the bacon, I'm all for it.
No, dude, I remember actually, working fast food and... No. More than ever, I'm just that's unsanitary, and I know it.
Yeah.
Especially health regulations around food, and how there are very few of them, and most of them have to do with temperature.
Yeah.
Which, it's one of the few mitigating factors, but hygiene is also a major one. And I don't think Carl's Jr. showcases any hygiene in any of their ads.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It depends on the store. Some of them I go into, I'm like, oh, this is going to be a good Carl's Jr. experience. And others, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is going to be I'm on the toilet just like McDonald's. Top Hat Jay says, F you, I'm eating is gold. Thanks, buddy. I wish I could take total credit for it. But that's actually a Mike Judge joke from Idiocracy. But I figured if we're going to advertise them, there goes that sponsor. I know. And that's totally what I don't care if they actually do offer us, well, we'll sponsor you guys, but you can't say that line. I'm saying the line. First night. BBC update on Doctor Who future imminent. Showrunner states, amid concern, its return has now been scrapped or postponed. If you're like Top Hat Jay, this is either going to excite or enrage you. Doctor Who showrunner Russell T Davies has confirmed that an official update on the series' future will arrive this month, amid reports that its previously announced Christmas special will no longer be made. Last week, UK tabloid The Sun reported that the series' upcoming return was now likely delayed until 2027, or scrapped altogether, as the BBC's search for a new lead actor continued. The days since have seen other credible reports that the special episode has run into production trouble, and there's a general sense among Doctor Who fans that the show's future remains increasingly uncertain, without a lead actor or replacement for Disney Plus as a co-founding partner, and following a negative response to its most recent seasons. Speaking today on BBC Radio 2, Davies was questioned about the series and when a new star might be revealed. He replied as follows: "You will get an announcement. There's a press release lumbering through the BBC, which, as you know, is like the Jurassic period, and 57 people have to sign off on every single word. So I promise you, in about a week or 2 weeks, there will be a press release, and I can hear the gears slowing down even as I say this." Word of a press release has immediately sparked fan speculation, with many suggesting that the BBC was planning to confirm either a new funding partner, showrunner, or star, though others suggested the news was more likely that none had been found in the time for the Christmas special to be made this year. Series' current situation is being analyzed in minute detail, with fans debating at length. Another recent interview with Davies, in which he noted that he was now not filming anything until 2027. Trusted Doctor Who podcast Radio Free Scario, has reported that the Christmas special hasn't been worked on this year, and based on its production sources, rather than being cancelled, it was never started to begin with. At the same time, writing on private forum Gallifrey Base in remarks later posted to other users on social media, former Doctor Who magazine editor Tom Spilsbury also cast doubt on whether the special will end up being made, citing current funding issues within the BBC as the cause. But today, yet another report has emerged that offers a little more hope. Writing on his Substack blog, Bleeding Cool founder Rich Johnston has suggested that the BBC is moving forward with an alternative, low-budget plan for Christmas using existing sets and without extensive special effects. Oh, so we're just going back to 2005 Who. While what might have been planned as the Christmas special episode may have changed, the report states something could have materialized, or could still materialize this December. Back to Tenet, I guess, says Jay. Yeah, why not? He did such a great job last time, might as well do it one more time. Or probably get Chris Eccleston now that he's, getting into old age and not finding work as often as he used to when he was younger. John, did you ever get
I feel like I'm completely out of the loop.
Yeah, see, because you don't watch Doctor Who.
I don't care about Doctor Who. Like, I got
don't
into it.
Care? Why do you not care?
I've tried. It's like I have a very, very strict thing about CG, and practical effects are fine for the 1990s. But make that shit look real, or I don't believe you, and it ruins your whole show when people are acting like that thing looks real. And that's been my whole problem, especially because some of the transitions still feel like Microsoft PowerPoint. But other than that, yeah, I've just never heard. I've heard the stories, but I've never really gotten interested because of all of the other shenanigans.
It's definitely it's a different approach to sci-fi. It's definitely more science fantasy, and you kind of have to embrace some of the weirdness of it, and accept that it is a bit more. It's not quite as the way that the universe works in Doctor Who is there's certain events that are set, that are locked, that they can't change regardless of how much they try, and then there's others that are very fluid. So Top at Jay says, Tenet pulling a Doctor Who hat trick would be a hugely divisive announcement. Oh, John just hates whimsy. Kidding, for legal purposes. Right, yeah, no. Anyway. John just hates For All Mankind. That's why he doesn't watch it. Tearful Mike Myers thanks Canada for Hollywood career. I'd literally be nothing without you. This coming to us once again from the Hollywood Reporter. A tearful Mike Myers on Sunday night paid tribute to his native Canada for paving his way to Hollywood and to classic roles like Wayne Campbell, Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, and Shrek. I just want to say, Canada, I don't know what to say, dude. I'd literally be nothing without you. An emotional Myers, who last year led Canada's elbows up moment after U.S. President Donald Dumbass's threat to annex Canada, said with simple gratitude when accepting the Icon Award at the Canadian Screen Awards in Toronto. I had a whole speech written about how much I love Canada, but I suspect some of you might be sick of hearing that at this point, Myers added, before getting emotional when thanking his parents for moving to Canada and stressing the importance of being silly. He also gave thanks to a long list of friends and colleagues, including Martin Short and the late Norman Jewison. And Myers, who lives today in New York City along with his family after growing up in Scarborough, a suburb of Toronto, also thanked Canadians for dipping into their pockets to support his early career as a funny man. I want to thank the Canadian taxpayer, I really do, actually, because I always say to my American friends, I had a really big ally in my hand. I have 40 million people behind me. Also, Sunday night, heated rivalry, the gay hockey soap opera dominated... Also Sunday night, heated rivalry, the gay hockey soap opera, dominated the TV series competition. The popular Crave at HBO Max drama took home some trophies for Best Drama TV Series and Best Led TV Performer for Hudson Williams. The audience award voted on by ordinary Canadians, while Sophie Nalisi, who plays Williams' girlfriend on Heated Rivalry, picked up the Radius Award. If I could cut this award down to the middle, I would, because if these gay, yearning little bottom eyes didn't have a big, sexy Russian to feast upon, my performance wouldn't be as good. So, to the honorary Canadian Connor Story, I share this award with you, Williams said of his co-star when accepting his trophy. Story is an American citizen who was ineligible to compete in the Best TV Drama category alongside Williams. The Academy of Canadian Cinema and Television allows only Canadian citizens or permanent residents to be nominated in the country's film and TV awards. Now that makes sense. The article goes on about heated rivalry, but I think we've got the point. Mike Myers, really grateful for career from Canada. Turning now to Jay. Oh, no, I guess we're not. John, any thoughts? Babe.
I mean, shout out Canada. They gave us Corione.
That is true. I'm very thankful to Canada for Corione, even though he's not here. I mean, he's fine. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. No, you're mad he's not here. New Warhammer 40,000 cinematic stuns fans with official look at the Emperor. Somehow the Emperor has returned. Games Workshop just threw a grenade at Warhammer 40,000 community with a stunning cinematic that shows the Emperor of the Imperium sitting on the Golden Throne. The first official look at the Master of Mankind in the current setting for years. So this is somehow the Emperor has arrived. The Warhammer 40,000 setting is built upon a galaxy-shaking civil war that took place 10,000 years earlier, called the Horus Heresy. It ended with the Emperor finally defeating... spoilers. Finally defeating his chaos-fueled Primarch son, Horus Lupercal, and saved the Imperium of Man from destruction, but at a terrible cost. The near-death of Master of Mankind was interred upon the Golden Throne as a Carian Emperor, sustained by the daily sacrifice of thousands of Seekers? I think it's Psychers. The iconic art of the God Emperor by John Blanche below is seared into every Warhammer 40,000 lore fan's mind. This is how the Emperor looks in the 41st millennium. Grim, dark, and barely there at all. Dude ain't even alive, man. He's more dead than the Sith Emperor from SWTOR.
Pretty sick.
I mean, yeah, it's cool, but...
I mean, especially if your story is like, yeah, he's being kept alive by psychers. It's like, what is that, some kind of psionic energy? It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing guessing it's like those creatures that,
Oh, dude, no, I bet you it's just any, like, telepath or above level of psychic power. Their soul is being, like, sucked dry to fuel his power over his empire.
Sustain
and it looks like it, because he does not look like a real person.
Yeah, in wholly unnatural preservation.
Well, dude, the crazy part is I wonder if, like, he is the one guy in charge, so it's like a Legion situation. Which, very cool.
We gotta get into 40,000 lore to understand.
Well, dude, we're almost there. Henry Cavill, TV show on Amazon.
Which, I do like Amazon Prime Sci-Fi. Masters of the Universe gets last-minute IMAX confirmation as Star Wars makes room. Dun dun dun. Masters of the Universe has added last-minute IMAX screens to its theatrical rollout after Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu opened up room for the large screen format earlier than expected. Star Wars fans were anticipating Disney's sci-fi universe to populate IMAX screens for at least a few weeks into June following its May 22nd premiere. However, it doesn't seem like that will be the case, as IMAX has made a surprise change that will now see its theaters make space in anticipation of Amazon, MGM, and Sony Pictures' live-action He-Man movie. The movie was announced Friday with an official promotional material for Masters of the Universe. Tickets are now on sale just 1 week before the movie's previously announced standard release date of June 5th. Wait, it's this week? Thought it was next week. IMAX typically gives viewers a more substantial heads up when it comes to ticket sales for upcoming movies. Mortal Kombat 2 tickets, for example, were shared April 9th, around 1 month before wide theatrical release in early May. Tickets for The Mandalorian and Grogu went on sale April 17th. Masters of the Universe was also absent from the 2026 slate IMAX shared with investors April 30th. Instead, the company said it expected its early summer window to primarily feature Star Wars, Disclosure Day, Toy Story 5, and Supergirl. It's a surprise for the He-Man movie that may see more fans finding the power to make a trip to the theater when the film arrives next weekend. Meanwhile, rumors that The Mandalorian and Grogu made room for the surprise screen shift as a result of disappointment at the box office have started to spread online. Star Wars spin-off has so far managed to pull a global total of $33.8 million in IMAX earnings, with $7.4 million of that amount earned through this weekend. Why the flick has received a shorter than expected IMAX run has not been officially confirmed. I mean, I can pretty much confirm it because it is not doing as great as they expected it to. So, okay, is He-Man out this weekend then?
In June 5. Yeah.
I mean, that's what the poster's saying. Shit. I thought we were doing Disclosure Day this week, but, oh, man, we might... Oh, shit. It might have to be a double feature.
Wait, then when is Disclosure Day?
That's the 5th as well. Actually, you want to jump on that? Double check the release dates on this stuff? I'm going to move on to the next story. Netflix's new releases coming for June. Yeah, I guess that's one way to react. This to us from The Hollywood Reporter. The return of one of Netflix's... Oh, wait. I totally missed comments. My bad. Top at Jay says, I'm sure that's a perfectly fine and not troublesome signs for the Mando at all. He-Man is this week 100%, says Top Hat Jay. Oh, man. All right. Well, might be doing a double feature review. That could be fun. You know, question is, do you do Disclosure Day first, or you do Disclosure Day and then you do the action film while thinking about Disclosure Day? The return of one of Netflix's slow-burn romance drama favorites, Mexico's first ever stop-motion animated feature, an excruciating buddy comedy starring Eric Andre and John Cena. Oh, man. Julian Schnabel's time-spanning, star-studded Dante drama, the first Harlan Coben Netflix thriller set in America, and a second outing for The Last Airbender are among the new film and TV highlights at Netflix in June. Oh, shit. Airbender's out this month, too? We're not gonna have time to do anything! Despite the flashy big budget, high concept fare, the real backbone of Netflix is the unassuming dramas like Virgin River, Sullivan's Crossing, and Ginny and Georgia that it churns out at an impressive clip. Add to that list Sweet Magnolia's romantic drama that returns for its 5th season on June 11. An adaptation of Cheryl Wood's novels, the show follows 3 women, best friends living in South Carolina, and their struggles, romances, and more. It's not overly complex, and that's just the way Sweet Magnolia's heads like it, referring to the fans. On June 12th sees the debut of Arturo and Roy Ambierzi's I Am Francadella, an innovative Mexican stop-motion animated musical feature that has a real chance of being a breakout hit for Netflix this month. Actually, that almost sounds good to me. Is that on the 12th? Yeah, probably review that on the 16th. This book been generating a lot of buzz on social media for being the first Mexican movie made entirely in stop-motion animation. If you're wondering what that is, just think of something akin to Wallace and Gromit, or, the Walkers in Empire Strikes Back. The dark fantasy story is about a young 19th century Mexican horror writer named Francesca Emilda, who writes about an imagined world which just so happens to be real. Of course. The ever-prolific Harlan Coben, the scribe behind the mega hits Safe, Fool Me Once, Runaway, and The Stranger, returns to Netflix on June 18th with yet another fast-paced thriller miniseries, this time not shot in some hard-to-fathom British city. Indeed, this is the first Netflix Coben show that is ostensibly set in America. I Will Find You, based on Coben's 2023 novel of the same name, features an impressive cast including Sam Worthington, Britt Lower, Milo Ventimiglia, and Aaron Richards, and tells the story of a man who has been wrongfully imprisoned for the murder of his son, but then finds out his son might actually still be alive. Go get him, Sam. Alright, okay, June 25th, the second season of the big-budget fantasy series Netflix The Last Airbender, live-action adaptation of the incredibly popular Nickelodeon animated series, sees the Aang Gang continue their adventures in the world where some people are able to literally bend the elements to their will. Though reviews for the first season were mixed, Netflix felt sufficiently happy with the ratings that it renewed the obviously very expensive show for a second and third season. The core cast, of course, return with new additions including Maya Ketch as Toph Baifong, Chin Han as Long Feng, Ho Zuda as Professor Zay, Justin Chin as Earth King Kuei, Amanda Zhao as Jodie, Crystal Yu as Poppy Baifong, Madison Hu as Faye, and Dichin Lockman as Avatar Yang Chen. THR would hesitate to cut. That's all we have for the show that I actually care about. All right, so end of the month we get Avatar. Well, I can definitely plan and anticipate watching. I can't remember. Did that show drop all at once? Did they hit us with all the episodes at once?
I think so. Yeah. Yeah, it did. Because I remember binge watching it in a row. It was very good. I liked it, and the funny thing is it's the same distance. The problem is like a lot of people were like, no, I expected a shot-for-shot remake, and it's like, no. Like I was talking about it at work, one of the things some of my coworkers were saying was that like he just doesn't look like the Avatar, like he looks kind of goofy. And I was like, name a bald kid that doesn't.
Like, the reason he doesn't look like total ass in the cartoon is because, well, for one, we have the cartoon. For two, some of us grew up watching Caillou, okay? And to actually have a bald kid that wasn't just annoying and cancer-ridden was refreshing as hell. Especially that he was the badass. And then he also had the ability to grow hair, as we would see in season 3. Spoilers for those who haven't seen the show.
Which makes him even better. Like, it was a choice that he honored.
Right.
As a 12-year-old. Like,
his conviction to his faith was more important at the time. But then, he had to disguise himself, so he grew out his hair.
But I feel like that's a fair statement to be like, yeah, the visuals don't line up exactly. And it's like, yeah, but they also don't suck.
Right. No,
that's impressive.
And it was nice. Well, it's nice because it's a different telling of the story that's still familiar, but it's not. It's like a different issue of your favorite comic book. It's Spider-Man versus the Amazing Spider-Man, and there are fans who enjoy both versions or all those versions of that character, so it's not entirely unfounded. Alright, so what we were mentioning in the comments section before, Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu suffers 69% giggity drop at the box office. Star Wars The Mandalorian and Grogu struggled to find success in its second weekend in theaters, resulting in a 69% drop at the box office. The Disney Plus show's transition to the big screen had a domestic haul of $25 million from 4,300 locations in weekend 2. That's a significant fall off from its $102 million debut that puts its domestic total at $137 million, while its international box office is at $109 million. So $246 million globally. Mandalorian and Grogu attracted audiences with an estimated 165 million global total upon its May 22, 2026 release date. Failure to maintain any sort of momentum suggests diehard fans mostly showed up for its relatively lukewarm debut weekend just to catch Star Wars return to theaters. The last time moviegoers traveled to a galaxy far, far away with a big screen adventure was nearly 7 years ago with the launch of Star Wars Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, which I will say, compared to that Star Wars experience, I liked this one. I actually do want to try and see Mando and Grogu one more time, maybe 2 more times, but, we got other movies coming up this weekend, though, too. While Disney failed to rekindle the once dominating popularity of the franchise, movie watchers still turned out to the theaters through the final weekend in May. The Mandalorian and Grogu's soft second weekend put it in third place domestically, behind low-budget horror projects Backrooms first and Obsession second, which is now going to lead us into our next article. Backrooms and Obsession are ushering in a new appreciation for low-budget horror movies after both YouTuber-directed projects managed to lead the box office race with strong numbers this weekend. A24's Backrooms secured the top spot with an estimated weekend domestic gross of $81.45 million across 3,442 locations and $118 million worldwide. It's a sign that its creepypasta come-to-life concept and strong reviews from critics helped lead audiences to theaters this summer. Movie season kicks off. Backrooms also happens to have been directed by first-time filmmaker and YouTuber Kane Parsons, aka Kane Pixels. The film's opening weekend performance at the box office would be considered a success for anyone, but its position as a debut feature from a 20-year-old director with a reported $10 million budget only makes its number one spot more impressive. What the hell are we doing with our lives, bro?
Dude, not only is this kid like a 20-year-old director, if he is the same dude that started this whole thing, like, they made a game out of his YouTube thing. I honestly have no idea which order of events exists. Like, I only know about the Backrooms because Film Theory started talking about it, and it was a YouTube film project.
Right.
That made no logical sense. And it was very fun to watch all of the Film Theory videos on it because it was a very fun conspiracy to follow. For it to now be number one, $10 million. And if this is the guy, like if he started that project, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago at 15, just goofing off.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive, dude. Like, hey.
It just goes to show, stick to your guns, stick to your formula, stick to what you're good at, and don't give up your passions under any circumstance. The sky is clearly the limit. Kane Parsons has essentially proven that. Like, yeah. You want to take a look at this trailer?
I found something in the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The place. I found a place.
Hello? Anyone there?
Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof.
All right, you feel me?
Yeah. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been here every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow.
Oh my God. Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see?
All these rooms. This place builds them. It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me?
I don't understand. What is this?
It's beautiful.
Am I right?
Hello?
Yo, next week's show might turn into a triple feature review. Like, that looks really good.
That looks horrifying.
I feel like I've spent like a good
Looks
portion
awesome.
of my childhood in.
That looked really good.
Yeah, it does. Like, I'm down to see that. And then of course Obsession was doing really well. Like I said, Obsession had really good marketing. When I went and saw Mando and Grogu in the theater and I went to the bathroom afterwards, they had like a bunch of sticky post-its arranged in the shape of a heart, and it was all like these creepy Obsession messages, and it was on the mirror of the men's bathroom, and I'm just like, and then below it says Obsession, you know, in theaters, blah, and I'm just like, that is incredible. So I'm curious as to what that movie looks like, so let's go ahead and watch the Obsession trailer.
Have you ever actually like flirted with Nikki?
I'm gonna go get some shots.
I'll come with you if she means this much to you. And I know she does. Say, Nikki, I think we should grab a drink sometime.
Nikki, wait. I was gonna ask you,
What?
I lost my train of thought.
Hi.
Good night. What else?
Why?
One wish will.
It's weird how you two are dating all of a sudden. Like, super dating.
I think Nikki is going through something.
Like what? Is she okay?
No. Nikki? I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you! So she's just stuck like this forever?
Oh, yeah, I mean, as long as you live.
As long as I live?
Yeah, all right. I mean,
Yeah, that one looked amazing. I was in right at the jump. Like, I love those wishes gone wrong stories, and this one looked horrifying.
yeah.
Both of these in completely different ways. Like, I love Adventures Gone Wrong horror, and I love Wishes Gone Wrong horror. I'm excited. I might wait till October because I love watching my scary month. But
Well, yeah, I mean, probably. Backrooms definitely has me interested at any time, but I mean, it would definitely work for our October movie lineup, absolutely. So, Top Hat J says yes. Yeah, I mean, these are both. Yeah, these both. I can see why they're doing well in the theater. First of all, these are very original concept films, and they that's what's getting people in the seats, is the fact that the concept is in...
So much.
1 second.
I don't think I could live without you.
Well, I think that like the thing that's getting people in seats is more than anything new and true, you know? Like, I feel like the thing about Backrooms is that guy put a lot of effort into marketing the idea himself. You could not make that movie without a lot of the groundwork that he put in terms of, like, I don't know how associated he is with the game.
It just started with meme videos.
The crazy thing is, it started the exact same way that this movie's going. Like, the first video, according to the entire record, if you like catalog it in order, the very first video is supposedly like, I just found this video footage, and it's like found film or found footage of somebody falling into the back rooms. And like, the footage is not supposed to be of anybody that like anybody knows, but at the same time, like, it is very much like a series of YouTube found footage films that now made it into a movie that does not look like found footage films. And it works so well in its own
it's also
story arc that it's amazing. Where it's like, this isn't somebody in Hollywood was like, oh, I bet you I can do it better. No, they let the guy who did it have a Hollywood budget to do it better. And it worked. Like, how many more people are going to be like, I might find a new director?
Well, this goes back to why, you know, it's the trend we saw in, I think it was the 2024 Oscars, or the Oscars for 24, so the 25 awards. Whichever one that Everything Everywhere All at Once won, and all that other independent, you know, smaller budget movies and you know, lesser marketed type. The point is, consumers are going for what they want, not what the corporations want to tell them what they want. You know, the legacy IPs are starting to suffer even more because they're not bringing enough nuance. You know, did Mando and Grogu do all the bare minimums to pass as a Star Wars movie? Absolutely. We evaluated it here last week, and sadly John wasn't here with us for that, but it did all it needed to. However, it doesn't bring anything new to Star Wars. It doesn't really forward anything more. If you're really into side quest stuff, which I don't mind, I enjoyed the movie.
I disagree, mostly because it 100% builds out a film subject that a lot of people do care about, which is the anthology. Like, there's a lot of things that the Jedi are supposed to fix, I guess. Like, because we assume that the galaxy is filled with darkness. Because, like, you know, we've met it. We met Jabba the Hutt. We met Darth Sidious. We met Darth Vader. Like, okay, I guess if you scale that out, some planets are going to be worse than others. But, like, we also watched all those guys die. So how can you continue Star Wars without any of the main bad guys still alive? And I feel like what this did was, like, the bad was still going on, you guys. Like, you don't just destroy Darth Sidious and the Empire and suddenly realize that the galaxy's happy and hunky-dory. Like, that didn't work, and here's why, and here's what's going on. But also, like, what is a Jedi? Well, just the coolest thing we've ever seen, with the most crazy magic system that may be hard magic, but so far has only been displayed as soft magic with some forms of hard magics like systems. But it's very hard to tell because random Jedi, shout out Rey, get all of their powers on accident and also know how to use them on accident and don't need that much training. But now we have Mandalorian, somebody who's supposed to be from the Spartan race of the galaxy. And look at how hard it is if all you've got is a jetpack and a laser gun. Like, it is not suddenly this galaxy where Jedi are just frolicking through all of the bad guys and winning and killing droid armies willy-nilly. Like, it turns out for a regular person, it's very hard. And I feel like that's what Mandalorian and Grogu has always been, is scaling, because also we're scaling Yoda. Like, Yoda was a 900-year-old being. What does that look like? Well, apparently 50 of those years are borderline immobile. And if you can't move, how do you learn the galaxy? Well, you hitch a ride with a Mandalorian, because he's the only guy that actually enjoys fighting and traveling. And also, Yoda's never, like, even though Luke knew that Grogu was a Jedi and was capable of the Force, like, Luke still treated him like a cute little baby. Whereas Mandalorian was like, I'm going to treat you like a package project. Oh, now you're my son, and you've already shown, like, prowess on the battlefield. Then I'm just going to treat you like a Mandalorian with a much longer growth spurt and, like, or growth window. And so in that essence, you have more time to learn more than any of us. Theoretically, you could lead the Mandalorians for thousands of years, just like the Armorer does, and actually maintain that thread. And now suddenly we have a Grogu Mandalorian Yoda rather than a Jedi Yoda. What does that look like in the new galaxy? Like, none of that exists without Mandalorian. But it all also could have existed 100% in the Star Wars universe. We just never seen it before. And I think that's like the part that a lot of people are like, oh, Mandalorian wasn't like world-changing epic space opera. It was more Disney Plus series Star Wars.
Yeah, it was, and that's why it's not doing well to, surprise upsets that shouldn't be too surprising. But also in the tradition
it's going to be a great season 4. Like, every time you watch Mandalorian, it's like, oh, season 3 was pretty bad, but then you watch season 4 and you're like, meh. Shortest of all the seasons, but phenomenal.
Right, exactly. Speaking of disappointment, Stargate series from Martin Garrow not moving forward at Amazon. Stargate has become a high-profile, this is coming to us from Deadline, a high-profile likely casualty of the regime change at Amazon MGM Studios. The reboot of the popular MGM IP from Stargate veteran Martin Garrow, which received a series order by Prime Video in November of 2025, will not be going forward, Deadline has confirmed. The decision to pull the plug came late in the process. I hear the show had completed a 20-week writer's room and was in pre-production in the UK. It was explained with the new series' vision and creative direction, which allegedly no longer aligned with Amazon's programming strategy. The differences apparently ran so deep they required an outright axing versus retooling the existing version of the project by giving notes to Garrow, a veteran showrunner who had been signed into an overall deal by Amazon MGM Studios for the purpose of him spearheading Stargate. Ironically, the new Stargate was greenlighted by Amazon MGM Studios head of television Peter Friedlander in one of his first pickup decisions after he joined the streamer in early October. But the series falls under the purview of one of Friedlander's top lieutenants, Brett Fetter, head of world building and genre series, who didn't start at Amazon until February. The two executives who had developed Stargate with Garrow and had championed it, Nick Pepper, formerly head of US SVOD TV, development and series, wholly owned, and Matt King, formerly head of Tantalop genre. Jeez, we're all just going to put these stupid titles in front of them. With the former leaving when Fretter joined the company, and the latter departing 2 months later when Fretter restructured his team. Stargate was among the first MGM titles identified for series or film adaptation following Amazon's $8.5 billion acquisition of the storied Hollywood studio in 2022. The studio may revisit the IP with another showrunner, possibly someone who does not have history with it and would give it a fresh new perspective. But as it stands, the new Amazon reboot is dead.
Dude, I want to know what was wrong with it so we can know what's coming down
Oh my gosh,
the pipe,
right?
You know?
Like, need to see
That
if...
was the most obscure, doesn't align with our values. Amazon doesn't have any values except for making more money. So, like, please define the metrics in which you knew it was going to fail so then we can know, like, what we're expecting for the next few years. Because Stargate had such a fun series with all of the diversity and all of the shenanigans of the Star Wars, but also, like, all the fun limitations of a sound studio.
Right.
Like, it was developed in a bunker, so you could literally continue to play on that, and now you have a reason for always being in a green screen 80% of the show.
Philip Blair says, cantaloupe, nom nom nom. I guess canceloped, I guess, by the way. Anyway, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. That, however, that of course came to us from Cameron Pasha's Patreon. We got that news that just dropped actually just before we went live, but I only just now seen it on my phone. So Stargate is more fun because they leave the studio, in my honest opinion. Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying what I've been watching so far. Got into it because, you know, the new show might be coming. Now that it's not, or at least it's not right now, that's disappointing. But yeah, I mean, if we get any insider from Cardinal, we'll definitely talk about it and post about it, or at least do a 3-minute special of it.
Honestly,
but that blah 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 blah, you cut out. So, while John's figuring out his audio to try to get back in the show for one last time, I want to thank everybody for watching, liking, subscribing, tuning in. We appreciate the support as always. We want to continue to show up every Tuesday to bring you guys a podcast you at least know you can tune in and be a part of. At least, yeah. And we just kind of grow as we grow. John, any last thoughts now? Assuming you have audio back.
Oh, dude, I just think Stargate needs a little bit more time to simmer. And also, I feel like it could have been a good thing that this was postponed, because Amazon has not really been hitting all the metrics. They keep cutting shows down to 1-episode finales, and it's kind of hurting. But also, Invincible was great. The Boys had the best possible ending, but also it wasn't that fun.
Well, it is what it is. Please join us next week. We're going to be talking more pop culture. We're probably going to review a movie. Which one? Stay tuned on our socials to find out. I'm Peter York. He's Pollo Zapatos. We'll see you when we see you. Good night. This has been the Entertainment Information Intelligence Podcast from the Writer Brothers. The Writer Brothers, you know, the thing.